knees, calf muscles, ankles.
They said I have not muted all. You started suddenly.
Okay, please do that. Let us relax our ankles, feet. The whole body is relaxed, and we can know it when it doesn't demand any attention, when it is still, relaxed, alert. Let us withdraw the mind from the body and focus on the breath. Observation of breath is a very important part of meditation. Just observing the breath without forcing it to change as it is purifies the mind. Mind comes in the present moment. Mind becomes attached, detached, because the breath is always detached. Mind becomes quieter. And with a quiet, alert mind, we withdraw the mind from the breath and focus on the emotions and thoughts. What am I feeling? What am I thinking? Let us observe our emotions and thoughts without judgment. Pure observation as it is. Let us withdraw the mind from the drama of thoughts and emotions to the observer of all these things. Who is the observer? Who am I? Who is aware of the thoughts, emotions, breath, body, surrounding, becoming aware of awareness itself. So when we focus on the awareness, the observer and the observed dissolve in one, and that is the highest state. Happens with the grace of the God. So let us invoke the grace of the God and the Guru Parampara. Om. Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। स्थावरं जङ्गमं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्चित् सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्।
So Vidya will chant 1 to 5.
Okay. Only 1 to 5. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Isavasyamidagam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tyaktena Bhunjithaha Magridhakasya Svidhanam Kurvanneveha Karmani जिजीविषे छतगं समाहा एवं त्वयि नान्यथेतोऽस्ति न कर्म लिप्यते नरे असुर्यानामते लोकाः अन्धेन तमसा वृताः तागंस्ते प्रेत्याभिगच्छन्ति ये केचात्महनो जनाः अनेजदेकं मनसो जवीयः नैनद्देवा आप्नुवन् पूर्वमर्षत् तद्धावतोऽन्यान् अत्येति तद्धावतोऽन्यानत्येति तिष्ठत् तस्मिन्नपो मातरिश्वा दधाति तदेजति तन्नैजति तद्दूरे तद्वन्तिके तदन्तरस्य सर्वस्य तदु सर्वस्यास्य बाह्यतः।
Hari Om Vidya, thank you. So in Isavasya Upanishad, we have seen the first 5 mantras. The sequence and the logic must be clear to us how the thought process is happening. Mantra number 1, renounce the 3 desires and pervade this entire universe, Jagatyam Jagatavit Isha. And what to practice? Do not covet anything because everything belongs to that Isha. Isha is the ruler. In the second mantra, if I'm not able to renounce and I find myself still into a lot of action, then the only way what has been mentioned is na lipyate nare, means how actions must not bind me. Then the only way is to follow Karma Yoga, do our duty and leave the result to the God, become instrument of the Lord to do all our actions and do all duties cheerfully. And then we saw in the Nahi Ninda Nyay concept that the first, for glorification of the first 2 mantras, because that is where the entire Vedas are based. The third mantra comes of telling us the kind of pitfalls if we do not follow the first two paths. If I'm not able to renounce, if I'm not able to do karma yoga, then I will have a lower gati. I will be blind. I will be living like a blindfolded person, not knowing what is happening, what am I doing, etc. And this happens in our day-to-day life also. In any organization, suppose we take an example, a person works and is not delivering the results why he is been hired for. He is not doing the work what is been told in a proper manner. He is inefficient. Definitely what the organization will be doing, either the organization will not promote him or demote him or sack him. That is what the whole organization like Isavasya Upanishad Sarvam will do. Because if I am not accomplishing the purpose of working in the organization, definitely why the organization will keep us so a Surya Nam. So my gati will be lower and lower. I will go to lower worlds because here in this world I am not able to fulfill the purpose. So the next question came, okay, but what is Isha? So then the fourth mantra comes where the Swarupa Lakshana are given of Isha. Now, very importantly, we had learned the three types of Lakshana, which is very important for us into day-to-day life. Anything can be defined in three ways. We had learned this earlier in Pramana Vichara, that suppose, and this we do in our regular day-to-day life also. Now the Google Maps are there, but still we tell people the address. Suppose we want to tell how to go to Mr. X house, then there are three ways to tell. These are the Lakshanas to understand where all our philosophy, all our literature, especially the Upanishad and Brahma Sutra use this. And this we must be very clear about it. So, suppose we say, okay, that crow sitting on that building or that antenna or that color of the building, then it is called as Tatastha Lakshana, because the crow antenna and color can be changed, but we are using something else which has no connection with this, but and it can be changed. Very important point, because this is a topic I must little bit learn if I want to learn advanced texts like Brahma Sutra, because this is what is the discussion coming there a lot. So that is called as Tatastha Lakshan, using something else which is not part of that and changing to indicate that house. That house is called as Brahman. Second thing, I use exactly the opposite of that house. Okay, can you see that blue building? Ah, yes, yes. Not that. So that is Vivartaka Lakshan. Not that means it is opposite of it. We also tell the address like that. There is one very nice talk by Pula Deshpande, and there in this one person is telling address to another person, entire confusion only. Once you go straight, then there will be a right. Don't take that right. But why are you telling don't take that right? No, no, no. Then because that left is there. So that's why we tell. Then when you will get that left, then you will find one chai ka dukan. But don't go to chai dukan, because in opposite of that you take a lane. But why you're telling me? So this is Vivartaka Lakshan. That's telling something opposite of that. And then we say that building which has 4 windows and the big entrance, this is Swarupa Lakshan. Because I'm talking about building, but very important. It is very difficult to understand and contemplate on Swarupa Lakshana because we do not know. So Tatastha Lakshana is used because the journey from in this also, in our day-to-day life also, is from known to unknown. Because Brahman we have learned earlier, please go back and do summarize. Brahman is Atindriya Vishaya. To know Atindriya Vishaya, it is an unknown territory for us, no senses, no mind, no intellect. So we have to take help of the known to reach the unknown. So all these Lakshanas are used. So why we wonder, why fourth and fifth, so many pointers are given? Because it is Atindriya Vishaya. So then we come to fifth verse where we saw last time that contradictory pointers are used so that we don't get trapped in the words number 1 and we are exactly aware what is Brahman, which house I have to go, which flat number I have to go. We should not say, okay, go to second floor, but then from second floor there is a step, then you go to third floor. Why you're telling second floor? But that is a way to go. So different aspects were given. It is not far, it is not near, it is not inside, it is not outside. etc., etc. And we saw all these things last year. And what is a practice I have to do? That if I go back, I must say, okay, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect. And the observer, suppose I see there will not be any form. So immediately I can see, oh, there is no form of the observer. This formless thing is observing the form. So see the substratum, Isha, self in all superimpositions, world of situation, objects, person. So slowly, I start seeing the entire Lakshana pervaded by Isha only used for pointing out the Brahman. So the fourth and fifth verse, we have to see that different pointers are given for that Brahman to be known, either Swarupa Lakshana, Vivarta Lakshana, or Tatastha Lakshana. And contradictory are given so that we don't get trapped by the concept formation of Brahman, Atma, etc., etc., because then we will get trapped in the words itself and we will not go beyond the words. So now, after knowing this Isha by these various Lakshanas, the next two verses which are going to come. So now very interesting process is happening. First, in the Upanishad, in fourth and fifth verse, the pointers about self are given. And now in the sixth and seventh verse, the pointers are given to know the knower of the self. I'll repeat. Fourth and fifth mantras give the pointers to know the self. But the sixth and the seventh mantra which is coming are giving the pointers of the knower of the self. Knower of the self is one of the favorite topic of the Lord, is to give Sita Pratnya Lakshan. Now, very importantly, why again and again in Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita Sita Pratnya Lakshan comes? Because these Sita Pratnya Lakshanas are our sadhana to do in day-to-day life. So, as we mentioned last time, when we read about Brahman, when we are reading Upanishad, as Guruji says, we must ask oneself that what is a inner transformation happening in our life with these mantras? Where is my change? The change must come from within. And these changes are mentioned in the next two mantras. So very importantly, it is not only theory, it is not only Brahma Vidya that you are only talking about Brahman, it is Anedaja, it is Ekam, this is that, so many technical words, but slowly, it must make change in me. And what is the first change, which is the most important change, which must happen? That is coming in the next mantra, which is repeated in many scriptures. The same concept comes. What is that? Yastu Sarvani Bhutan. Means in all people, whoever I interact. So now we come to a transactional world from Brahman. Because ultimately a person has realized the Brahman, the self, the knower of the self has known the self now, then he is come out of Samadhi and how will interact with the world. So very interestingly, one important point given, one who continuously sees all beings in the self and self in all beings. Sthavaram Jangamam Vyaptam, in entire world. The self in me is the self in all. What will happen to this person now? Suppose I have not yet realized this, for example. Then I must take the second tip and start practicing so that I start coming nearer to the Sita Pratnya Lakshan. And slowly I will know the self by practicing the sadhana given here. All waves, froth, bubbles in water, water in all waves, everything is same. Earlier, I used to see the world of things and beings as different than they were. Now, they are in me only. So that is will be a change. Suppose a person who has never seen the diamond, suppose first time the diamond the person is seeing, he might not know that this is a diamond. But then somebody says what you are seeing is a diamond because these are his points. Then, oh, this is Brahman. This is Atma. There are many people who realize the self and then the jnana comes to them. Tukaram Maharaj says, Ata Baisalo Shizari. Then he says, I am not knowing what is happening to me, but I am not moving forward. But it is so pleasant. Just imagine that these people have experience, but then they get this knowledge. Ata Baisalo Shizari means now me and God are sitting together. Now it's only This is only where words can go. Now, we should not technically go into that. He's sitting next to God means it is Sayujya Mukti or this. But what he's saying is that now there is no difference between me and God. In my entire body, I can see Vithala is saying. And I am not moving further, means now there is no change. So I become changeless. So then the person would say, oh, this is Brahman, this is God, this is diamond. So all these people who realize this, then what will be their transaction? This vision of oneness sees only the self and self in all beings. And in Gita chapter also, this vision makes this difference. That is the most important point in this verse to catch. That Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam Mitra Karuna Evacha. That verse we should by heart because that is Gurudev's favorite verse. Once Gurudev was asked, what is your favorite verse? He told, as usual, all are favorite, but then he was forced, pestered, followed. He told, this verse is a very important verse of mine, my favorite verse. Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam Maitra Karuna Evacha Nirmamo Nirhankara Sama Dukha Sukha Kshami. So what a beautiful verse. Same thing is there in this verse, what has been mentioned. What is the result of this vision? Na vijugupsate. This is the most important word in this entire fifth mantra, that one does not have any aversion, hatred towards anyone. Because just learning Upanishad after Upanishad and knowing about Brahman, then all technical things, I must immediately ask, why is there making any change in me? Whether I am getting angry, how often I am getting angry, how I am shouting on others or my shouting has reduced, whether I am hating anybody, whether I have strong dislikes for people, I am very comfortable with some people, I am not comfortable with some people, whether this is changing or no, because that Guruji says that this knowledge will bring about inner change. And now Upanishad is also talking about it, that just reveling in Brahman is one thing. But after I come out of that reveling in Brahman, my transaction must show this difference. And the same thing is mentioned in the Gita in the verse what I mentioned, Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam. So this is the most important one. I think last time I mentioned this, or I forgot, but it's worth repeating. Worth repeating this episode which recently happened. Guruji asked everybody, Aham Brahmasmi, what is the meaning? People said many things. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahma. He listened to everybody and he told, Aham Brahmasmi means two things. Don't complain and never hate anybody. And for me, it has become a mantra only. Because when Guruji says something that what is the meaning of Aham Brahmasmi, because a person who realizes self in me and self in all means what? He would have thought for 30, 40, 50 years, and with realization he's telling. And when I compared Guruji's notes with what this and Gurudev's favorite verse, they are matching. What Guruji told, don't complain and never hate anybody. These two words means Aham Brahmasmi. Same thing is mentioned by Gurudev in Adveshta Sarva Bhutanam. And same thing is coming in Isavasya Upanishad, that after realization, what happens? Not some aura comes, chakra comes, power comes, people come and then feed me and then they prostrate me. No. What happens is that no anger, no hatred, no aversion towards anything. So no complaints for people who are listening to Isavasya Upanishad. Number one, I must drop all complaints. And how to drop? Just by saying just now. Gurudev says for noble projects, use that moment, don't delay this moment. Let us take a deep breath and say to oneself, from today, I drop all complaints from my mind, finish, and I surrender. All complaints will dissolve. That is the way to do it. Anytime I find complaining, I will immediately remember this verse. The self in me is self in all. Ishavasyam idagam sarvam. Yatkincha jagatyam jagata. And never hate. Now, why these two are mentioned? Because this is where our whole energy goes. This is where we go in the opposite direction. This is where we actually go into the lower trend in our gati. No desire, anger towards anyone. Love, compassion, service to all. Means this. Example, what Guruji gives, we have seen already, that how it happens that somebody has got a wound on the thigh and people come to meet him. He wants to show the wound to others. You want to see the pus, blood. No, I don't want to see. But for that person, our own stool, our own urine, our own gas, our own dirty things are okay with me. I'm okay with my own self because that in everything I am there. But I am very much hateful towards other people's durguna. So that person is okay with his own pus, his own blood, his own muscle. But when we go to meet that person says, shall I open and show? No, 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 please don't open and show the wound. I cannot stand it. So the wound here means durguna. The wound here means others' bad qualities. I must be okay with it. I must be comfortable with it. I must not always talk about others' bad qualities. Prakriti miyanti bhutani. As number of people, so the prakritis. Duality will be there in transaction functionally, but in vision, there must be oneness. Now, there are many, many examples taken because people say, oh, how to act in day-to-day world. Shall we not, scold anybody? Shall we not discriminate people? Yes, discrimination will be there functionally, but back of the mind, there is oneness. Examples are coming. A mother has two children. There is one child, suppose one is brighter in studies, the other is Buddhu, but not so much into the very smart. The mother's love will be seen more. That word seen is very important. Will be seen more towards the Buddhu child because she will take care of the Buddhu child, or less smart child because she knows this child will take care of itself. But that doesn't mean that the mother's love is different for both the children. Functional transaction will be different, but mother knows that these are two only extensions of me only. Second examples, head are different. Feeling of oneness is there throughout. I do not hate any part of my body. Gurudev's example, we know that if our finger goes in our own eyes, we are okay with it. Other four fingers comes to, cajole those. But when somebody else does the same thing, then we feel angry because there is so much of difference, division in our living. Duality creates like, dislike. Like creates craving, dislike creates aversion, sorrow, fear, hatred. And Advait creates unconditional love, service, compassion, samatvam towards everybody because of this vision, because of this understanding. So the other day when we had gone to Guruji, he told all of us must become VIP. VIP means V is vision. Vision must be clear. He always says that our vision in life must be clear. Clarity must be there. What am I doing? Why am I doing? What is the purpose? Whether I am in the congruence with this purpose in family life, business life, job life, social life, they should not go in different directions. My job, my family must be in tune with my goal of life. And the second I is this vision must lead to inspiration. And the P is practice, and I keep practicing. So where the person is having clear vision, the person is inspired and the person practices with love. So VIP, vision, inspiration, practice. And he was telling this in tune with how he created Vibhuti, Chinmay Vibhuti, and what is the purpose, vision. It's a vision center of that Swanubhuti Vatika. I think we all should go sometime. Those who have not gone to see the Swanubhuti Vatika, that there is a self-realization. So after we get the vision of Gurudev, when we see the audio video, then we should come out, then we should experience what Gurudev is talking about that. So that is Swanubhav. The final thing what comes is Anubhuti. Shruti, listen. Yukti, think. Anubhuti, experience. That is a definition of Satya in our Vedanta. Practice, deal, transact, fight without dislike, anger, hatred. That is a central message of Bhagavad Gita by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. Do not escape. But this is not so easy to do because fighting without dislike, anger, hatred is so difficult. So I am fighting for a noble cause. I am doing certain thing for a noble cause. Then outside, suppose it is been seen as cruel or angry. That is for a noble cause. So being angry and showing anger, these are two different things. Do not try to escape the situation. Drop insistence, resistance, and focus on the substratum that is a Isha. How to do that? After Isavasya Upanishad, study is that all the time I must remember the first verse. First verse is Isavasyam idagam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagata. So the substratum of the Jagat is Isha. And what is Isha? We have spent fourth and fifth verse. So that's how I practice this Isavasya Upanishad in day-to-day life. The substratum is Isha only, Ishwar only. Moksha, freedom from raga, dvesha, greed, jealousy, hatred, desire, anger, ego. So these all things are created by Dvaita. So here what has been mentioned is that I must focus on Advaita. I must focus on substratum. I must focus on Isha. And then slowly my mind will get tuned. And when this vision is clear, then with inspiration and love, the ego dissolves, because ego and love are in opposite nature. One cannot stand other. Where there is love, there cannot be ego. Where there is ego, there cannot be love. And our final goal is to dissolve the ego. As Ramana Maharishi says, the false entity, his head is dropped and then the real I comes out. So now the next mantra is a continuation of this mantra. The only thought is expanded further. So in the first mantra, what has been mentioned? That create this vision of oneness, self in me, self in all, and this will create a vision of no hatred towards anybody. That is our sadhana. So what is the next mantra? That what will happen? Further, what will happen? When to the knower all beings have become one in one's own nature, then one's delusion will go for once for all, and when the delusion goes, the grief also goes. Tatra ko moha ka shoka. So now this is very important to understand. First moha goes and then shoka goes. So suppose I am having lot of sorrow, suffering, anger, hatred, then basically I am under some moha. There also Lord Krishna asks question in the 18th chapter. He doesn't ask whether your shoka has gone. He asks whether your moha has gone. And then he says, Smrutir labdva. Yes, now I have got my smruti back and my moha has gone. Now I have no confusion, no delusion. And when that goes, shoka goes. So Bhagavad Gita also is called as Ashoka Upanishad, because it starts with shoka, sorrow. Sorrow is the greatest enemy of our mind. Greatest enemy of our mind is shoka. So here also in Upanishad it is coming. Finally, why am I reading this Upanishad? To completely eliminate shoka from my life, from my mind. And that will go with moha. Moha will go with, moha is caused by ignorance. Ignorance will go with knowledge. So this knowledge I am studying. Recently there is I think day before yesterday or yesterday, our new Brahmachari batch has started, 19th. It is there on YouTube. Please watch Guruji's session is there on that. Guruji has spoken. Swami Advayananji has spoken. Swami Avyayananji has spoken. So many people have spoken. In that, Guruji has mentioned that our Atmanubhuti gives us that happiness, and this Atma Jnana gives us fearlessness. Two things he discriminated. So when this Jnana starts happening, starts growing, what it will do inside the one of the change is that it will start making us more and more fearless, more hatredless, more and more angerless. So these pointers I must write down in my diaries and ask myself, what is the change in me? That is what Guruji asked. While studying Upanishad, please ask, what is the change happening within me? So how shall one feel deluded after thereafter? That is a question asked. Tatra ko moha ka shoka. What grief can be there after seeing the oneness? So now we will little bit analyze. In the state, time and space of oneness, there is no moha and shoka. What is moha? Because now we have to revise. Seeing something different than reality. Example, rope and snake. Very famous example. Example, in dream we see many things. After waking up, we realize that everything was a dream only. So no fear and sorrow. We see the silver on the shell. Something else as something else. So we see the world, but we do not see the Isha. So that is something else is superimposed on something else. And we are seeing the snake, and the snake vision is creating desire, fear, hatred, anger, sorrow. When the snake vision goes, we see the rope, and then that creates atyantik dukkha nivrutti of the snake and paramananda prapti of the rope. So when we actually understand what this jagat is, we start seeing the rope very clearly, we start seeing the Isha very clearly in every chara achara in this world, and there itself our moha slowly starts reducing, and that is our sadhana to do. So what is the definition of moha? Seeing something different than reality. That is a mistake. That is where Adhyasa Bhashya start. Because Adhyasa Bhashya in Brahma Sutra proves that there is an error happened, and that's the reason there is a need for an inquiry. We must inquire. Why am I unhappy? Why am I getting angry? Why this sorrow? What is this delusion happening? The real delusion happening is we are considering something what is superimposed as the real thing, as we are thinking that the movie what is happening on the screen is real. The movie is not real. In comparison to movie, the screen is real. The screen is unchanging. So focus on the screen and then let go all other superimposed things on the screen. So this is not done. So I'll just cover this point and then we'll complete. So there are two types of moha what we have. That point I will mention and cover. There are two types of moha. What are there is that this world is real. That is one type of moha, delusion. And the second what is leading to it is that this world is going to give me happiness. So these are the two fundamental mohas, delusions. And that's the reason Shankaracharya says Jagan Mithya Brahma Satya. So if I want to remove shoka from my life, I have to remove moha. Number 1 point. If I want to remove moha, I must understand what is a moha. Definition of moha: seeing something else as something else. That is a technical Vedantic definition of moha. Now in our day-to-day life, what is a moha? I am seeing this world as real, but I am not seeing the Isha, substratum of it, on which this world is superimposed. So that's the reason first verse we have to connect and remember. Isavasya Upanishad Sarvam. Now, what is the result of first moha? The result of first moha is that because my senses are outward bound, I want to be happy. The only thing what I see is Jagat. So naturally I will go that this Jagat is going to give me happiness. Because there is nothing else what I can see which can give me happiness. But I want happiness. Then the only way left to us is that somehow to get some happiness from this Jagata, which is made up of object, situation, people. And that is where our journey starts of the Jiva, to somehow extract happiness from object, situation, people, which is not going to happen. Because the happiness is not located in the object, person, situation, it is located in the subject, myself. So a spiritual sadhak turns within. When I went to Guruji on 60th birthday, he gave me a book, U-turn, and told, now after 60, take a U-turn. So now we have to follow. Less and less attention outside, more and more attention to within. How to do that? We have to learn Drisya Vivek, my favorite, one of my favorite texts. Okay, objects are there, objects are seen by eyes. Okay. Okay, then what is happening in the eyes is known by the mind. Okay, emotions are there. Okay, what is happening in the mind is known by the intellect. Okay, I know. Then what my thoughts, I still know. So who is that knower? And then finally I have to say, I know that I am. That means that I am also is known. So there has to be a knower beyond the I am. And that's how once I say and then focus, that is how now Guruji has told U-turn. Now somewhere I have to get the U-turn with some methodology, and we have to use Shastriya methodology to do that. Shastriya Praman. So slowly, I have to always, okay, now I can see the laptop, but I'm not the laptop. I can see the mobile phone, but I'm not the mobile phone. Then, okay, mobile phone is seen by the eyes, but then eyes also, now eyes are tired, then eyes are known by the mind. When the eyes are closed, the mind knows eyes are closed. And what is happening in the mind is known by the intellect, the thought, the buddhi. And what is happening in the buddhi, I know, I understand Isavasya Upanishad. I don't understand Isavasya Upanishad. I know this. I don't know Brahma Sutra, but I know Drisya Vivek. Ramana Maharshi says both these knowledge and ignorance are same for Atma. It has no meaning. But that doesn't mean I should not give up the knowledge. But from ultimate standpoint of view, both knowledge and ignorance are same for a Vedatit person. Then who is the knower of this? Then slowly. So this itself questioning is taking me within, U-turn. So any transaction happening in my day-to-day life, I must be able to U-turn using that stimuli. So that's why I interpreted what he said. Because somewhere we have to interpret something and take a U-turn. And that is a book of Guruji. Very interesting book. You can order online. Even though it is not, like 60th birthday or not given, but still worth reading. So let's take a U-turn. And why to take a U-turn? Because real happiness is located there. I am not interested in stimuli-based happiness. Now I am interested in source-based happiness. I want to reach the source of happiness, not stimuli, because stimuli I have seen. Now next level, Vanaprastha. So we will complete here. If any questions are there, we'll take. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you very much.